boot caught her temple before the groceries hit the ground. Jasmine's vision blurred, her body slamming into the pavement of the outdoor market, tomatoes rolling through the dirt. And standing over her, fists still clenched, was the man who destroyed her 3 years ago. Adam didn't recognize her. Why would he? The woman he abandoned was broken, pregnant, begging him not to leave with $11 in her account and nowhere to go. That woman died the night she lost their baby on a cold clinic floor. But Adam had no idea who she'd become. No idea about the black Mercedes waiting 2 blocks away. No idea about the ring hidden under her glove. Platinum, flawless, engraved with a name that makes men in Seoul look at the ground. Kang Min-jun, her husband, the head of the Korean underworld. As Jasmine's phone buzzed in her jacket, Min-jun's name flashing on the screen, she watched Adam's face. He was still smiling, still thought she was nothing. In 7 minutes, when Min-jun's convoy tore through this market with 20 men in black suits, Adam would learn what happens when you touch what belongs to a man who owns half the city. But right now, he had no idea. Before we see what Min-jun does when he arrives, let me take you back 3 years, to the night Jasmine's life ended, and the morning it began again. Welcome back, my beautiful souls and kindred spirits. Before we start, go ahead and subscribe, like, and share where you're watching from. It always warms my heart to see our little storytelling family stretch across the world. Every click, every comment, every bit of love you give helps us keep uncovering these unforgettable stories together. So find your quiet place, settle in, and let me take you somewhere you've never been before. 3 years of healing, 3 years of becoming someone new, 3 years of learning that survival could turn into power, all of it shattered in the time it took Adam Wellington's boot to connect with her skull. Jasmine didn't see it coming. She was reaching for persimmons at a vendor stall in Gwangjang Market, her guards 20 feet back giving her the space she'd asked for. Just 10 minutes, she told them. 10 minutes to feel normal, to pick her own fruit like regular people do. The impact sent her sideways into the wooden cart. Oranges exploded across the pavement. Her shopping bag tore open, rice scattering like snow across the dirt. She hit the ground hard, her palms scraping concrete, her vision swimming. Clumsy bitch, someone spat above her. That voice, she knew that voice. Jasmine's head snapped up, blood trickling from her split lip. Adam stood over her, his expensive shoes inches from her face. He was heavier than she remembered, softer. The gym membership had clearly expired after he'd gotten what he wanted from his new wife's family money. But his eyes were the same, cold, dismissive, empty. He didn't recognize her. "Watch where you're going," Adam said, brushing imaginary dust from his jacket. His new wife clung to his arm, a blonde woman in too much jewelry, her nose wrinkled like Jasmine was trash on the street. Jasmine stayed on the ground, frozen. Her brain was screaming 2 different commands: run, stay still. The market crowd had gone quiet, a circle forming around them. Vendors watched, shoppers stared. No one moved to help the woman on her knees. "Adam," the blonde woman whined, tugging his sleeve. "Let's just go. She's probably homeless or something." Homeless? The word landed like a second kick. Jasmine's hand trembled against the ground. Under her glove, Min-jun's ring pressed against her finger. Heavy, real, a reminder of who she was now. But Adam saw none of it. "You're lucky I don't call the cops," he said, stepping over her like she was a puddle. "People like you shouldn't be allowed in places like this." People like you. She'd heard that before. 3 years ago, when he'd thrown her out of their apartment. When he'd told her the baby was probably someone else's anyway. When he'd blocked her number and married someone who could actually benefit his career. Jasmine's vision cleared. Her guards were pushing through the crowd now, their faces tight with panic. They'd been distracted by a vendor argument. 30 seconds, that's all it took. But 30 seconds was enough. She touched her lip, her fingers coming away red. The taste of copper filled her mouth. Adam was already 10 feet away, laughing at something his wife said, completely unaware, completely untouchable. For now, Jasmine's phone buzzed in her jacket pocket. Once, twice. The specific pattern that meant Minjun was checking in. He always knew. Somehow, he always knew when something was wrong. Her hand moved to answer it, then stopped. If she answered, if she told him what just happened, Adam Wellington would be dead before sunset. Minjun didn't forgive. He didn't negotiate. A man who touched his wife didn't get a second chance. But death was too easy, too quick, too merciful for what Adam had done to her 3 years ago. Jasmine pushed herself to her feet, ignoring her guards rushing toward her. She wiped the blood from her mouth with the back of her hand, her eyes locked on Adam's retreating back as he disappeared into the crowd. The phone buzzed again. This time, she answered. Jagi! Minjun's voice came through, smooth and dark. Where are you? Jasmine watched Adam vanish around a corner. Gwangjang Market, she said quietly, and I need you to do something for me. Anything. She smiled, tasting blood. I need you to find someone. 6 hours earlier, the morning had been perfect. Jasmine woke to sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows, soul sprawling. Below, like a kingdom made of glass and steel, Minjun's arm was draped across her waist, his breathing steady against her neck. This was still new. Even after 8 months of marriage, she sometimes woke up convinced it was a dream, that she'd open her eyes in that freezing studio apartment with the broken heater and the landlord banging on the door. But the silk sheets were real. The warmth was real. Minjun was real. You're thinking too loud, he murmured against her shoulder, not opening his eyes. I'm not thinking anything. Liar. He pulled her closer. You do this thing where you hold your breath when you remember the bad times. She hated that he could read her that easily. I was just thinking about today, she said, which wasn't entirely untrue. The market. I want to pick ingredients myself for dinner. Minjun went still. Then he was moving, rolling over to pin her gently against the mattress. His dark eyes suddenly awake and focused. No, he said flatly. Minjun, no. His voice was soft but immovable. We've discussed this. Jasmine pushed against his chest. He didn't budge. At 6'2" with a body trained for violence, Minjun was an immovable object when he wanted to be. You can't keep me locked in this penthouse forever, she said. I can absolutely keep you safe. That's not the same thing. Safe means suffocated? Something flickered across his face. Pain, maybe? Or fear, dressed up as control. He released her, sitting up and running a hand through his hair. Even frustrated, he was beautiful. Dangerous and beautiful. Like a blade that caught the light. You don't understand the world I live in, he said quietly. The enemies I've made. If someone wanted to hurt me, truly destroy me, they wouldn't come for me directly. They'd come for me, Jasmine finished. She'd heard this speech before. Yes. Minjun turned to Ua. Look at her. And his eyes were haunted. They'd take you, hurt you, make me watch. And I would burn this entire city to ash. But it wouldn't matter because you'd already be gone. The rawness in his voice made her chest tight. She reached for his hand. His fingers closed around hers immediately, desperate. I'm not asking to go alone, she said carefully. Just with minimal security, let me feel normal for an hour. Please. Minjun's jaw clenched. Define minimal. 4 guards, not 20. 8. 5. 8. Or you're not going. His tone left no room for negotiation. And they stay within 20 feet at all times. No wandering off. No sending them away because you want space. Jasmine bit back her frustration. This was as good as she'd get. Fine, 8 guards, 20 feet. But Minjun wasn't done. He stood, crossing to the closet, and returned with something small and black. A panic button. Where? This, he said. fastening it around her wrist like a bracelet. One press, and every man I have in a 5-mile radius converges on your location within 90 seconds. That's excessive. That's love. He cupped her face, forcing her to meet his eyes. You are the only soft thing in my life, Jasmine. The only good thing. If something happened to you... He didn't finish. He didn't have to. She'd seen what Minjun was capable of when someone threatened what belonged to him. She'd watched him break a man's hands for following her home from a charity event. Watched him quietly erase a business rival who'd made a crude comment about her at a dinner party. Minjun didn't lose his temper. He simply removed obstacles. Permanently. Nothing will happen, Jasmine said, kissing him softly. It's a market, in broad daylight. I'll buy vegetables and be home before lunch. He pulled her close, his heart beating hard against her cheek. I can't lose you, he whispered into her hair. I won't survive it. She wanted to tell him he was being dramatic, that she'd survived far worse than a trip to Gwangjang Market. But the truth was, she understood. They were both broken people who'd found each other in the wreckage. Two people who'd learned that love meant holding on so tight your hands ached. You won't lose me, she promised. Minjun kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her mouth, soft at first, then deeper, like he was trying to memorize her. When he finally let her go, his expression had shifted back to business. 8 guards, he repeated, 20 feet, panic button on your wrist, and you call me every 30 minutes. That's insane. That's the deal. Jasmine rolled her eyes but nodded. She knew when she'd pushed him as far as he'd bend. 2 hours later, she was dressed in simple clothes. Jeans, a black coat, comfortable shoes, nothing flashy, nothing that screamed wife of Seoul's most dangerous man. Minjun was already gone, called away to handle business she knew better than to ask about. But he'd left her a note on the bathroom mirror in his sharp, precise handwriting. Come home safe. I love you. She touched the words, then grabbed her bag and headed for the elevator. 8 guards were waiting in the lobby, professional, armed, ready to die for her if necessary. It should have made her feel safe. Instead, it made her feel like a prisoner in an expensive cage. The market was only 20 minutes away. She'd be fine. She had to be fine. Jasmine pressed the panic button on her wrist, testing it. A faint vibration confirmed it was active. Then she walked out into the Seoul morning, surrounded by men trained to kill, completely unaware that in less than an hour, everything Minjun feared would come true. And it wouldn't even be an enemy who did it. It would be a ghost from her past who didn't know he was already dead. Jasmine's guards had pulled her to her feet, their faces pale with the kind of fear that came from failing a man like Minjun. One of them was already on the phone, his voice low and urgent in rapid Korean. Ma'am, we need to leave, the head guard said, his hand hovering near her elbow without quite touching. Now. But Jasmine wasn't listening. She was staring at the corner where Adam had disappeared, her mind racing. 3 years of building a new life, of becoming someone he could never hurt again. And he just kicked her like garbage in the street. Didn't even recognize her. Ma'am, wait, Jasmine said, her voice steadier than she felt. She pressed a hand to her split lip, wincing. Just wait. Then she saw him coming back. Adam emerged from behind a spice vendor stall, his blonde fiancée still attached to his arm like an expensive accessory. They were laughing about something, completely at ease. He was walking straight toward her. Jasmine's guards tensed, forming a loose semicircle around her. Their hands moved inside their jackets, ready. But she held up a hand. Stop. She needed to see this. Needed to know if any part of him would remember what he'd destroyed. Adam noticed the guards first. His eyes narrowed, taking in their identical black suits, their military posture, the obvious bulges of weapons under their arms. Then his gaze landed on Jasmine, really landed on her this time. His steps slowed. Something flickered across his face. Confusion, then recognition, but incomplete, like he was trying to play someone from a dream. "Wait," he said, stopping a few feet away. His fiancée tugged his arm impatiently, but he ignored her. "I know you." Jasmine said nothing. "From Chicago," Adam continued, his eyes scanning her face. "You're... No, that can't be right." "What can't be right?" "The blonde," woman asked, annoyed. "She looks like someone I used to know," Adam said slowly. Then his expression shifted, and something cruel crept into his smile. "Jasmine? Jasmine Pierce?" The name felt like ash in the air. Pierce. Her old name. The one she'd buried the day she signed the marriage certificate as Jasmine Kang. "It is you," Adam said. And now he was laughing. Actually laughing. "Oh my God. What are you doing here? Did you follow me to Seoul?" The blonde woman's eyes went wide. "Wait, is this that ex you told me about? The crazy one who tried to trap you with a baby?" Jasmine's hands curled into fists. "I wasn't crazy," she said quietly. "And the baby was yours." "Sure it was," Adam said, his tone dripping with disbelief. "That's why you conveniently lost it right after I left. Probably never even pregnant." The words hit like physical blows. Jasmine felt her guards shift closer, their energy turning dangerous. One of them was speaking into his earpiece again, faster now. But she couldn't look away from Adam. "So what's this?" Adam continued, gesturing at the guards. "Did you hire actors to make yourself look important? Fake bodyguards for your fake new life?" "Adam, let's just go," the blonde woman said nervously. She'd noticed the guards' expressions now, the way they were looking at her fiancé like he was already a corpse. "No, I want to know," Adam pressed. "What are you pretending to be now, Jasmine? Did you marry some old businessman for his money? Is that how you afford the costume?" He stepped closer, ignoring the warning growl from the head guard. "Because let's be honest," Adam said, his voice dropping to something ugly and intimate. "You were never good enough for anything real. Not smart enough. Not pretty enough. Not worth the trouble." The market had gone silent again. Vendors watched. Shoppers pretended not to stare. Everyone could feel it. The shift in the air, the moment before something terrible happened. Jasmine's phone buzzed in her pocket. Once, twice, 3 times in rapid succession. Minjun's emergency pattern. He knew, somehow, he already knew. "You're right," Jasmine said finally, her voice steady despite the blood on her lip. "I wasn't good enough. Not for you." Adam smirked. "At least you're self-aware now." "I was too good," Jasmine continued. "Too forgiving. Too willing to believe that you were just scared when you left me pregnant and broke. Too stupid to see that you were just a coward who took the easy way out." Adam's smirk faltered. "But you're right about one thing," Jasmine said, pulling off her glove slowly. The platinum ring caught the afternoon light, the diamond so large it looked fake. "I did marry someone." She held up her hand, letting him see the ring, see the engraving on the band, see the name that made her guard stand. Straighter. Kang Minjun. Adam went pale. Even he knew that name. Everyone in Seoul knew that name. "No," he said, shaking his head. "That's fake. There's no way." The roar of motorcycles cut him off. 6 of them, tearing into the market from 3 directions. Black bikes, black helmets, moving in perfect formation. Behind them, 3 black SUVs with tinted windows. The market crowd scattered like birds. Adam's fiancée grabbed his arm, trying to pull him away, but his feet wouldn't move. He was staring at Jasmine, really seeing her now, seeing the truth. The motorcycles stopped in a semicircle around them. Engines cut. Silence. A car door opened. Minjun stepped out. And even from 30 feet away, Jasmine could see the cold fury in his eyes. He was still in his business suit, still perfectly composed. But every man in the market knew what was about to happen. Minjun walked toward them, his movements unhurried, and Adam Wellington finally understood the mistake he'd made. He'd kicked a queen. and her king was coming to collect. Minjun didn't run. He didn't shout. He didn't need to. The entire market bent around him like gravity had shifted. People stumbling back, vendors lowering their eyes, the noise draining away until the only sound was his footsteps on the pavement. He wore white. A white suit that probably cost more than most people made in a year, now completely out of place among the grime and chaos of Gwangjang Market. But that was the point. Minjun didn't blend in. He didn't hide. When he moved through the world moved for him. Jasmine watched him approach, her heart hammering. She'd seen him angry before, seen him cold, seen him make men disappear with a phone call. But she'd never seen this. His face was empty, completely blank. No rage, no expression at all. That was worse. Behind him, 20 men in black suits fanned out, forming a perimeter. Motorcycles idled at the market entrances, blocking escape routes. More vehicles were pulling up, a steady stream of them, until the entire block was sealed. Minjun's eyes found her first, scanned her from head to toe, cataloging every injury. The split lip, the scraped palms, the blood on her coat. Something flickered across his face then, brief but terrible. Pain? Then it was gone, replaced by ice. He stopped 3 feet away from her, close enough that she could see the muscle ticking in his jaw. "Are you hurt?" His voice was soft, almost gentle. "I'm fine," Jasmine said. "Are you hurt?" he repeated. And this time the softness had steel underneath. "My lip, my hands, nothing serious." Minjun reached for her, his fingers tilting her chin up so he could see the damage. His touch was feather-light, but his eyes were murderous. He studied the cut on her lip, the bruise already forming on her cheekbone, the dirt on her knees where she'd hit the ground. His breathing changed, deeper, slower, the kind of breathing that came before violence. "Who?" he asked simply. Jasmine hesitated. She'd called him to find Adam. Yes, to make him understand what he'd done to her. But she hadn't expected this. This level of response. This many men. This much danger. "Minjun, who touched you?" His voice hadn't risen, hadn't changed at all. But every man in the market felt it. The threat underneath. The promise of violence. Jasmine glanced past him at Adam, who was frozen in place, his face the color of old paper. His fiancée had let go of his arm, backing away slowly, her survival instincts finally kicking in. Before Jasmine could answer, the head of her security team stepped forward. "Sir," he said, his voice tight with shame. "The man in the blue jacket. American. He kicked her. We were distracted for 30 seconds and—" "30 seconds," Minjun repeated. He finally looked away from Jasmine, his eyes finding the guard. "You were distracted for 30 seconds." The guard's face went pale. "Sir, Get out of my sight." The words were quiet, final. The entire security team bowed and backed away, knowing their careers had just ended. Maybe worse than their careers. Minjun turned toward Adam. The crowd parted like water, leaving a clear path between them. Adam tried to run. His feet actually moved, scrambling backward. But 2 of Minjun's men were already behind him, their hands on his shoulders, holding him in place without visible effort. Minjun walked toward him slowly, each step measured, each step a countdown. When he stopped in front of Adam, the height difference was stark. Minjun was 6'2", of lean muscle and cold fury. Adam looked small, soft, breakable. "You kicked my wife," Minjun said. Not a question. A statement of fact. Adam was shaking so hard his teeth chattered. "I didn't know. I swear. To God, I didn't know who she was." "Does it matter?" Minjun asked, tilting his head slightly. "Would it have been acceptable if she wasn't mine? If she was just some woman you didn't recognize?" Adam opened his mouth, closed it. No good answer existed. Minjun leaned in closer, his voice dropping to something quiet and terrible. "I'm going to ask you a question," he said, "and I want you to think very carefully before you answer, because your life depends on the truth." Adam nodded frantically. "Do you know her?" Minjun asked. "My wife. Did you know her before today?" The question hung in the air. Jasmine's breath caught. She hadn't told Minjun about the past, about Adam, about any of it. She'd planned to, eventually, when the wounds weren't so fresh. But not like this. Adam's eyes darted to Jasmine, then back to Minjun. She could see him calculating, trying to figure out which answer would save him. "No," Adam said. "I've never seen her before. It was an accident. I didn't mean to." "You're lying," Minjun said simply. Adam went rigid. "I'm not, I swear." Minjun turned to look at Jasmine, and his eyes were full of questions. She could lie, could say Adam was a stranger, could keep her past buried, and let Minjun handle this like he handled everything else. Clean, quick, permanent. But she'd called him for a reason. Not for protection, not for revenge, for closure. "I knew him," Jasmine said quietly. 3 years ago, in Chicago." Minjun's expression didn't change, but she saw his hands curl into fists. "How?" he asked. Jasmine looked at Adam, who was watching her with desperate, pleading eyes. "Don't tell him. Please don't tell him." "He was my fiancé," Jasmine said. The market went silent. Minjun stared at her for a long moment, processing, understanding, dawning. Then he turned back to Adam, and his smile was terrible. "Oh," he said softly, "so this wasn't random at all." Adam started crying. "Please, I made mistakes. I was young and stupid, and I didn't know what I had." "What you had," Minjun interrupted, "was the woman I love, and you threw her away." He stepped closer, close enough that Adam could feel his breath. "You should have treated her better," Minjun said, "because now she's mine, and I don't forgive the people who hurt what's mine." His hand moved to his jacket, reaching inside. Adam screamed. "Minjun, stop!" Jasmine said. Minjun froze, his hand still inside his jacket. He looked at her over his shoulder. "He hurt you," Minjun said, 3 years ago and again today. Give me one reason why I shouldn't end this right now." Jasmine stepped forward, ignoring the pain in her hands, the blood on her lip. "Because I don't want you to," she said. "Not like this. Not for him." Minjun studied her face, searching for something. "What do you want?" he asked finally. Jasmine looked at Adam, crying and broken and small. Everything she'd feared becoming. Everything she'd survived. "I want him to leave," she said. "I want him to go back to his fake life with his fake fiancé and remember every single day what he lost, what he destroyed, what he'll never have again." She stepped closer to Minjun, placing her hand on his chest. "I want him to live with it," she whispered, "the way I had to." Minjun's jaw clenched. For a moment, she thought he might refuse. Then he nodded once. He pulled his hand from his jacket. Empty. "You heard her," Minjun said to Adam. "You have 60 seconds to disappear. If I see you in the city again, if I hear your name, if you even think about her." He didn't finish. He didn't have to. Adam ran, stumbled over his own feet, scrambled up, and ran like death was chasing him. Maybe it was. Minjun turned back to Jasmine, his mask finally cracking. "You should have told me," he said quietly. "I know. About him, about all of it. I know." He pulled her into his arms, careful of her injuries, and she felt him shaking. "We're going home," he said into her hair, "and you're going to tell me everything, every single thing he did to you." Jasmine nodded against his chest, because she knew what came next. Minjun had let Adam run today, but mercy had limits, and Adam Wellington's time was running out. The penthouse was silent except for the sound of Jasmine's hands shaking as she held the glass of water Minjun had given her. They sat in the living room, the city lights sprawling below them like stars fallen to earth. Minjun had removed his white jacket, rolled up his sleeves, but his posture was still rigid, waiting. He hadn't spoken since they'd gotten home. Just guided her to the couch, brought her water, sat down across from her, and waited. Jasmine knew what he wanted, what he deserved. The truth. All of it. His name is Adam Wellington, she started, her voice steadier than she felt. We met in Chicago. I was 23, working 2 jobs to finish my business degree. Minjun's jaw tightened, but he didn't interrupt. He was charming, successful, everything I thought I wanted. Jasmine took a sip of water, her throat dry. We dated for a year. He proposed on my birthday. I thought I'd won the lottery. When did it change? Minjun asked quietly. When I got pregnant. The words hung in the air between them. Minjun went very still. You were pregnant. 12 weeks, Jasmine said. I was terrified. We weren't ready. Neither of us had real money yet, but I thought we'd figure it out together. She set the glass down, her hands twisting in her lap. Adam had other plans. His boss's daughter had been interested in him for months. Rich family, connected. Everything his career needed. Her voice cracked slightly. He told me the baby probably wasn't his anyway. Said I'd trapped him, that I was ruining his life. Minjun's knuckles had gone white where they gripped the armrest. He left me with nothing, Jasmine continued. We had a joint account, $23,000 we'd been saving for the wedding. He emptied it the day he moved out, took everything. His name wasn't on the lease, so he just walked away. What did you do? Minjun's voice was dangerously soft. I tried to work, tried to keep both jobs while pregnant. But I was sick all the time. I got fired from one job for missing too many shifts, then the other. She looked down at her hands. I couldn't pay rent, couldn't afford food. I was living in my car by week 16. Minjun stood abruptly, walking to the window. His shoulders were rigid, his breathing controlled. Keep going, he said without turning around. I lost the baby at 19 weeks, Jasmine said, and her voice finally broke. I was in a free clinic, alone. They said it was stress and malnutrition, that if I'd had proper prenatal care, proper food, it might have been different. She wiped her eyes roughly. I called Adam from the clinic, told him what happened, asked if he could at least help with the medical bills. Her laugh was bitter. He blocked my number. I never heard from him again. The silence stretched out. Minjun stood at the window for a long time, his reflection in the glass showing nothing. Then he turned around, and Jasmine had never seen him look like this. Not angry, not cold, shattered. You lost a child, he said. Because of him. Yes. You were starving, living in your car, while he spent your money on someone else. Yes. Minjun crossed the room in 3 strides, dropping to his knees in front of her. His hands found hers, holding them carefully like they might break. Why didn't you tell me? His voice was raw. When we met, when we married, why didn't you say anything? Because I was ashamed, Jasmine whispered. Because I thought if you knew how broken I was, how worthless someone else had found me, you'd realize you made a mistake. A mistake, Minjun repeated. He lifted her hands to his lips, kissing her scraped palms. You thought loving you was a mistake. I thought I wasn't worth protecting. Minjun made a sound low in his throat, somewhere between pain and rage. Listen to me, he said, his eyes locked on hers. That man took your money, your home, your child, your future. He took everything and left you to die. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. And today, I let him walk away, Minjun said, because you asked me to, because I love you more than I hate him. He stood, pulling her up with him, his hands framing her face. But that was a mistake, he said quietly. My mistake. Because men like him don't learn. They don't change. They just find new people to destroy. What are you saying? Minjun's expression was calm, final. I'm saying Adam Wellington has 48 hours to leave Korea. After that, I stopped being merciful. He kissed her forehead gently. Not for revenge, for justice, for the woman who died in that clinic, for the child who never got a chance, for you, Min-jun. You don't have to watch, he said. You don't have to know the details. But he doesn't get to walk away from this. Not again. Jasmine searched his face, looking for hesitation, for doubt. She found none. Will you kill him? She asked. No, Min-jun said. Death is too easy. I'm going to take everything from him the way he took everything from you. His money, his career, his future wife, his reputation, every single thing he values. He stepped back, straightening his shirt, and when he's broken and desperate and alone, when he's living in his car with nothing left, I'll make sure he knows exactly why it happened. Make sure he remembers the woman he destroyed, the one who survived him and became a queen. Min-jun pulled out his phone, already dialing. Get me everything on Adam Wellington, he said into it. Bank accounts, business deals, personal connections. I want his entire life mapped out in 6 hours. He hung up, turning back to Jasmine. Go rest, he said gently. This doesn't touch you anymore. I'll handle it. But Jasmine didn't move, because she realized something in that moment. She didn't want Min-jun to handle it. She wanted to handle it herself. No, she said. Min-jun paused. No, I want to do it, Jasmine said, her voice growing stronger. Not you, me. I want to be the one who takes everything from him. Min-jun studied her for a long moment. Then he smiled. It was terrible and beautiful and full of pride. Then we do it together, he said, extending his hand. Jasmine took it. And Adam Wellington's 48 hours began counting down. If this story is touching your heart, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss the next chapter. Your support means everything. Now, let's continue. Adam Wellington's world started falling apart at 9:47 p.m. He didn't know it yet. He was in his hotel suite at the Grand Hyatt, trying to calm Claire down. She'd been hysterical since they fled the market, pacing the room, her makeup smeared from crying. We need to leave Korea, she kept saying. Tonight. Right now. We can't just leave, Adam argued, pouring himself a third whiskey. The merger deal closes in 2 days. If I walk away now, I lose everything. You'll lose more than everything if we stay. Did you see that man's face? Did you see what he was going to do to you? Adam's hand shook as he raised the glass. He had seen. He'd looked into Min-jun Kang's eyes and seen his own death staring back. But Jasmine had stopped it. Jasmine had saved him. The irony wasn't lost on him. We'll be fine, he said, trying to convince himself. She told him to let me go. It's over. His phone buzzed on the table, then buzzed again and again. Adam picked it up, frowning. Notifications were flooding in. Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. His email was exploding. What the hell? He opened Twitter first. The top trending topic in Seoul was his name, Adam Wellington. His hands went numb. The first post was from an anonymous account created an hour ago, but it had already been retweeted 40,000 times. Adam Wellington, American investment banker currently in Seoul for merger deal, abandoned his pregnant fiancée after stealing 23 km from their joint account. Thread. No, Adam whispered. No, no, no. But the thread continued. Screenshots of bank statements with his name on them. Dates, amounts, everything. He left her homeless while she was 4 months pregnant. She lost the baby due to malnutrition and stress. Here are the medical records. The records were redacted to protect Jasmine's identity, but everything else was there. The clinic name, the diagnosis, the dates that matched perfectly with when he left Chicago. Adam's phone kept buzzing. More notifications, more posts. Someone had found his LinkedIn, his company page. They were posting the thread in the comments of every single thing he'd ever shared. Adam? Claire was reading over his shoulder, her face going pale. What is this? What did you do? It's not, he started. But his phone rang. His boss. Adam answered with shaking hands. "Richard, I can explain." "Explain what?" Richard's voice was ice. "That you're a thief? That you let your pregnant girlfriend starve? Do you have any idea what's happening right now? It's being blown out of proportion. Our clients are pulling out. 3 of them just called me. 3 major accounts walking away because they don't want to be associated with you." Richard's breathing was harsh. "You're fired, effective immediately. Security will pack your office. Don't come back to Chicago." The line went dead. Adam stared at his phone, his mind refusing to process what was happening. Then Claire's phone started ringing. She looked at the screen, and her face crumbled. "It's my father," she answered. "Daddy, I can explain." But even Adam could hear the yelling through the speaker. Claire's father, the man whose connections were the entire reason Adam had the merger deal in the first place. Claire's face went white. "No, please don't." More yelling. "But the wedding!" The call ended. Claire turned to Adam, tears streaming down her face. "He's cutting me off. Everything. The trust fund, the wedding venue. He's removing me from the company board. He said I'm an embarrassment to the family." She looked at her engagement ring. The 3-carat diamond he'd bought with money from her family's investment in his career. Then she ripped it off and threw it at him. "This is your fault," she screamed. "You ruined everything. You're pathetic. You're nothing." She grabbed her purse and stormed toward the door. "Claire, wait." "We're done," she said without turning around. "Don't call me. Don't contact me. If you come near me or my family again, my father will destroy what's left of you." The door slammed. Adam stood alone in the hotel suite, his phone still buzzing with notifications. His email dinged. The merger deal partners. Meeting canceled. Deal terminated. Legal would be in touch about breach of contract. Another email. His landlord in Chicago. Eviction notice. Apparently someone had sent them the thread too, along with a note about moral violations in the lease agreement. His bank app notification. His credit cards were being investigated for fraud. All accounts temporarily frozen. It had been 30 minutes. 30 minutes since that first post went live. And Adam Wellington had lost everything. His job, his fiancée, his deal, his reputation, his future, all of it gone. He sank onto the couch, his phone slipping from his hands. This wasn't random. This wasn't some internet vigilante who'd somehow found his information. This was calculated, precise, surgical. This was Minjun Kang. And Jasmine had let him do it. Adam's phone buzzed one more time. A text from an unknown number. "You have 24 hours to leave Korea. After that, things get worse. Much worse. No signature, no name." It didn't need one. Adam looked around the hotel suite that was still paid for 2 more nights. By tomorrow, his credit cards would be fully blocked. He wouldn't be able to afford a flight home. He was trapped. Broke. Alone. Everything Jasmine had been 3 years ago. The irony was perfect. Brutal. Intentional. Adam pulled up his banking app with shaking hands, checking his savings account. Empty. Not frozen. Empty. Every dollar gone, transferred out in the last hour to various accounts he didn't recognize. He couldn't even afford dinner. Couldn't afford a cab to the airport. Couldn't afford anything. Adam started laughing, high and hysterical. Because what else could he do? He'd kicked a queen and expected to walk away. But queens didn't forgive. And their kings didn't forget. His phone buzzed again. Another anonymous text. "Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., the market where you kicked her. Be there. Come alone." Adam stared at the message, his blood running cold. He could ignore it, could hide in this hotel room until they dragged him out. But that wouldn't stop what was coming. Nothing would stop what was coming. He'd made his choice 3 years ago when he left Jasmine bleeding and broken. Now he had to face the consequence. Adam looked at his reflection in the dark window, saw a man who'd thought he was untouchable, who'd climbed on the backs of others and called it success, who was about to learn what it felt like to fall. He typed back with shaking fingers. "I'll be there." The response came immediately. "Good. Bring everything you stole. It's time to pay it back." Adam closed his eyes. Tomorrow morning, at the place where he'd destroyed her again, Jasmine was going to watch him beg. And this time, there would be no mercy. Adam arrived at Gwangjang Market at 7:53 a.m., early, desperate, defeated. He'd spent the night awake, watching his entire life disappear, post by post, notification by notification. By dawn, there was nothing left. No job, no fiancé, no money, no future. Just this. A meeting he couldn't afford to miss with people who wanted to destroy him. The market was already awake. Vendors setting up their stalls, the smell of food mixing with morning air. Adam walked slowly through the same paths he'd walked yesterday, his hands empty, his suitcase left behind at the hotel he could no longer pay for. He reached the spot where he'd kicked her. The oranges were gone, the broken cart repaired, like it never happened, but Adam knew better. Everything that happened yesterday would follow him for the rest of his life. A black Mercedes pulled up at exactly 8 a.m. Minjun stepped out first, wearing another suit. Black this time, perfect, expensive, untouchable. Then Jasmine. She wore simple clothes, jeans, a black coat. Her lip was still split from where his boot had caught her, the bruise on her cheek visible even under makeup. But she stood, different now, taller, stronger, like she'd finally stopped carrying weight that wasn't hers. Minjun's men formed a perimeter, keeping the market crowd back, but not hidden. This was meant to be seen, witnessed, remembered. Adam's legs almost gave out. "Mr. Wellington," Minjun said, his voice carrying in the morning quiet. "Thank you for being punctual." Adam couldn't speak. His throat was too tight. Minjun gestured to the ground in front of him. "Kneel." "What?" "You heard me. Kneel." Adam looked at Jasmine, desperate. She stood slightly behind Minjun, her face unreadable. "Please," Adam whispered, "don't do this." "Kneel," Minjun repeated, "or my men will help you." 2 guards stepped forward. Adam dropped to his knees. The pavement was cold, hard. The same pavement Jasmine had hit yesterday when he'd kicked her. The symmetry wasn't lost on anyone. Minjun pulled out his phone, tapping the screen. "I'm going to record this. You're going to speak clearly, honestly. And if you lie even once, everything I've done in the last 12 hours will look like mercy compared to what comes next." He held up the phone, the camera pointed at Adam's face. "Tell them your name." Adam swallowed hard. "Adam Wellington." "Tell them what you did 3 years ago." Adam's eyes found Jasmine again. She was watching him with no expression at all. No anger, no satisfaction, just quiet observation, like she was watching someone she used to know from very far away. "I was engaged to Jasmine Pierce," Adam said, his voice breaking. "She got pregnant. I panicked. I left her." "You left out some details," Minjun said coldly. "Tell them about the money." "I took $23,000 from our joint account, money we'd saved together for our wedding. I took it all and blocked her number." "And what happened to her?" Adam's throat closed. "She lost her job, her apartment. She was living in her car while pregnant with your child." "Yes." "And what happened to the baby?" Tears streamed down Adam's face. "She lost it at 19 weeks because of stress and malnutrition, because I left her with nothing." The market crowd had gone silent. Vendors had stopped working. Everyone was watching. "And yesterday," Minjun continued, his voice still calm, still controlled, "you saw a woman at this market, a woman you didn't recognize. And what did you do?" "I kicked her," Adam sobbed. "I kicked her and called her worthless and walked away. That woman was Jasmine, your ex-fiancée, the mother of your dead child, the woman whose life you destroyed." Minjun lowered the phone slightly. Do you understand what you've done? Adam nodded, unable to speak. Say it. Out loud. I destroyed her life, Adam choked out. I took everything and left her to die, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Minjun stopped recording. He sent the video somewhere with a few taps, then pocketed his phone. That video will be on every platform by noon, he said. Your face, your confession, your apology, millions of people will see exactly who you are. Adam didn't respond. What could he say? Minjun crouched down, meeting Adam at eye level. Here's what happens next, he said quietly. You're going to leave Korea today. You're going to go back to Chicago. And you're going to rebuild your life from nothing, the same way Jasmine did. I don't have any money, Adam whispered. You took everything. I know. Minjun's smile was sharp. That's the point. You're going to feel what she felt. The fear, the hunger, the desperation, the shame, all of it. He stood, brushing off his pants. But unlike you, I'm not cruel. I've arranged one thing for you. A studio apartment in the worst part of Chicago. Paid for one. Month. After that, you're on your own. Adam looked up, confused. Why? Because my wife is a better person than me, Minjun said, glancing at Jasmine. She wanted you to have a chance. One chance to survive, to do better, to become something other than the coward who left her bleeding. He turned to walk away, then stopped. Oh, and Adam? That apartment? It's the same one Jasmine lived in 3 years ago, after you left, before she lost the baby. Minjun looked back over his shoulder. I thought you should know what rock bottom actually looks like. Adam felt something break inside him, some last piece of pride or denial. The car will take you to the airport, Minjun said. Your ticket is booked. One way, economy, middle seat. You leave in 2 hours. He walked toward the Mercedes, his hand finding Jasmine's. But Jasmine stopped, turned back. She walked to Adam, who was still on his knees, broken and crying. She crouched down like Minjun had, meeting his eyes. I forgive you, she said quietly. Adam's breath caught. Not because you deserve it, not because what you did was okay, but because I refuse to carry you anymore. Her voice was steady, certain. You took 3 years of my life. You don't get another second. She stood. Goodbye, Adam. She walked away without looking back, Minjun's arm around her shoulders, and Adam stayed on his knees in the market, watching the woman he destroyed walk away as a queen. The car pulled up. One of Minjun's men opened the door, waiting. Adam stood on shaking legs. His knees ached from the pavement. His face was wet with tears and snot and shame. He climbed into the car. As it pulled away from Gwangjang Market, Adam looked back one last time. Jasmine and Minjun were already gone. The crowd was dispersing. Life was moving on. Without him. Like he'd never mattered at all. His phone buzzed. One final message from the unknown number. You have your chance. Don't waste it. Because if you ever come near her again, if you ever speak her name, if you ever forget what you did, I'll finish what I started. And this time, she won't stop me. Adam deleted the message, deleted everything. And as the car headed toward the airport, toward the flight that would take him back to nothing, he made a promise to himself. He would survive this. He would rebuild. Not because he deserved forgiveness, but because Jasmine had survived him. And if she could rise from ashes, maybe he could too. The plane ticket was in his pocket. Economy, middle seat, like Minjun said. But Adam didn't care. He was going home. And for the first time in 3 years, he was going to try to become someone worth forgiving. Even if it took the rest of his life. 6 months later, Jasmine stood in front of a building she'd never imagined owning. 4 stories, glass and steel. Modern, clean. Located in Itaewon, where the city's heartbeat was loudest, the sign above the entrance was simple, elegant, Second Chances Foundation. In English and Korean. Minjun stood beside her, his hand warm in hers, watching her face as she stared at the building. "You're nervous," he said. "I'm terrified." "Good. That means it matters." The opening ceremony was in an hour. Press was already gathering. City officials, donors, people who wanted to see what the wife of Min Jun Kang had built with his money. But this wasn't his money, not really. It was hers. Every dollar earned from her own investments, her own work over the past year. Minjun had offered to fund it entirely. She'd refused. Second chances had to be earned, not given. She'd learned that the hard way. "Come on," Minjun said gently. "Let me show you something before everyone arrives." He led her inside, past the lobby where volunteers were setting up, past the intake, offices and counseling rooms, up to the third floor. He opened a door to a space she hadn't seen finished yet. It was a bedroom, small but comfortable, clean sheets, a desk, a window with sunlight streaming through, a private bathroom, everything someone would need to feel human again. "We have 20 of these," Minjun said. "Emergency housing for women who need somewhere safe while they rebuild. No questions asked, no time limit, just safety." Jasmine's throat tightened. "The second floor has job training, resume help, interview prep, GED classes." He walked to the window. "First floor is childcare during the day, medical clinic twice a week, legal aid on Thursdays." "You memorized all of this," Jasmine said. "Of course I did. It's yours." She joined him at the window, looking out at Seoul stretching below them. 6 months ago, she'd been in a market watching her past try to destroy her. Now she was standing in a building designed to make sure other women didn't have to face their pasts alone. "Do you think it'll work?" she asked quietly. "Do you think it'll actually help people?" Minjun turned to her, his expression serious. "I think you're going to save lives, the same way you saved your own. I didn't save myself. You saved me." "No." He cupped her face gently. "I found you after you'd already survived, after you'd already clawed your way up from nothing. I just gave you a safe place to keep growing." He kissed her forehead. "These women will do the same. You're just giving them the tools." A knock on the door interrupted them. One of the volunteers. "Mrs. Kang, the press is here. They're ready when you are." Jasmine took a deep breath. "Mrs. Kang." She still wasn't used to it. "One more minute," Minjun said. The volunteer left. Minjun pulled something from his pocket. A small box, simple, black. "What's this?" Jasmine asked. "Open. It." Inside was a necklace, silver chain, a pendant shaped like a phoenix rising from flames, delicate but strong. "I had it made," Minjun said, "for today, for this moment." He took it from the box, fastening it around her neck. "You rose from ashes," he said quietly. "Now you help others do the same. That's not just survival, that's rebirth." Jasmine touched the pendant, her eyes burning. "Thank you," she whispered. "Don't thank me. Just promise me something. Anything. Promise me you'll never forget how strong you are, even on days when it feels impossible, even when the past tries to pull you back." He held her gaze. "Promise me you'll remember you survived." "I promise." They walked downstairs together. The lobby was full now. Cameras, microphones, people who wanted to know the story behind Seoul's newest foundation. Jasmine stepped up to the podium, Minjun standing slightly behind her, and looked at the crowd. She saw women in the back, ones who looked like she used to look, tired, scared, hoping for something better, but afraid to believe it existed. Those were the ones who mattered, not the press, not the donors, the women who needed second chance. Jasmine cleared her throat. "My name is Jasmine Kang," she said. 3 years ago, I was homeless, pregnant, alone. I'd lost everything, my home, my savings, my future. I lived in my car for 2 months. I lost my baby because I couldn't afford to eat." The room went silent. "I know what it feels like to be invisible, To have people step over you like you're garbage. To believe you're worthless because someone else decided you were. She paused, her hand finding the phoenix pendant. This foundation exists because I survived. And if I survived, others can too. We're not here to save anyone. We're here to provide tools, resources, safety, a place to breathe while you figure out your next step. She looked directly at the women in the back. Second chances aren't given. They're built, one day at a time, one choice at a time, one moment of refusing to give up. Her voice grew stronger. If you're here because you need help, the door is open. If you're here because you want to help, we need you. If you're here because you don't believe people can change, can grow, can rise from nothing, she smiled. Watch us. The applause started. Cameras flashed. Questions were shouted. But Jasmine wasn't listening. She was watching the women in the back, watching them stand a little straighter, watching hope bloom where despair had been. That was worth more than any press coverage. After the ceremony, after the interviews and photos and handshakes, Jasmine found herself alone in one of the emergency bedrooms. She sat on the bed, testing the mattress. Soft, comfortable, nothing like the back seat of her Toyota where she'd slept 3 years ago. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Her heart stopped. But when she opened it, the message wasn't from Adam. I saw your foundation opening on the news. I'm proud of you. You became everything I knew you could be. I'm sorry I wasn't strong enough to see it when it mattered. Monsieur Adam. Jasmine stared at the message for a long moment. 6 months ago, she would have felt something. Anger, satisfaction, vindication. Now she felt nothing. He was a ghost, a memory, a chapter that had closed. She deleted the message without responding. Then she blocked the number. Adam Wellington no longer existed in her world. She stood, smoothing down her dress, and walked to the window. Seoul glowed in the evening light. Millions of lives, millions of stories, millions of second chances happening right now. And she was part of it. Not as a victim, not as someone's ex, not as the woman who got left behind, as Jasmine Kang, wife, survivor, phoenix. Minjun appeared in the doorway, leaning against the frame. Ready to go home? He asked. Jasmine turned, smiling. Yeah, I'm ready. They left the foundation together, the building lighting up behind them as the first residents moved into their rooms. New beginnings, fresh starts, second chances. And somewhere in Chicago, Adam Wellington sat in a studio apartment, staring at his blocked message, finally understanding what he'd lost. Not just Jasmine, but the chance to be someone worthy of her. That realization would haunt him forever. But it was no longer Jasmine's problem. She'd moved on, and she'd never looked back. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed the story, you will surely love the next one. It's as interesting and even more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.